your new company. Where does that leave you?
I do have exciting news of my own, and I will enlighten you very soon.
Are you digging for dirt on me?
No.
Did Kane put you up to this?
Okay, what's it about?
It's Audra. There's something that you need to know about the kind of person she really is.
The opulent silence of the Newman Enterprises pent office was a lie. It was a vacuum, waiting to be shattered. Victor Newman, the Titan of Titian, stood with his back to the room, his gaze fixed on the glittering skyline of Genoa City. It was a kingdom he'd built with iron will and ruthless calculation. Every light below, he felt, flickered at his command. Amanda Sinclair did not knock. She entered with the measured, deliberate calm of a lawyer carrying a live grenade. Her heels clicked a staccato rhythm on the polished marble floor, a sound that finally made Victor turn. His eyes, those piercing blue lasers that had cowed generations of rivals, narrowed. "Miss Sinclair," he said, his voice a low rumble. "To what do I owe this intrusion? If this is about the Dumas merger, my answer remains the same. I am not interested in a partnership. I acquire. I do not partner." Amanda didn't flinch. She placed her sleek leather portfolio on his massive desk, the sound a dull thud in the spacious room. "This isn't about the merger, Mr. Newman. Not in the way you think. This is about why you're so adamantly against it. Why the very name Dumas seems to get under your skin." Victor's jaw tightened. "I have my reasons. The Dumas family is unreliable. Their business practices are questionable." "Their business practices are impeccable, and we both know it," Amanda countered, her voice cool and even. "This is personal. It's always been personal. You've been waging a silent war against Pierre Dumas for decades, buying up every company that aligns with his, blocking his every move into the American market. Why?" "That is none of your concern," Victor snapped, his patience thinning. He moved to sit in his high-backed throne of a chair, reclaiming his position of power. "Now, if that is all, it's not." Amanda's composure was unnerving. She unzipped her portfolio, but instead of pulling out a legal brief, she extracted a single, aged manila envelope, its corners softened by time. "My mother, Nia Benedict, was a very thorough journalist. And a very curious one. She believed the greatest stories weren't found in press releases, but in the shadows, the powerful cast." Victor's eyes locked onto the envelope. A faint, almost imperceptible tremor went through his hand before he stilled it. "Get to the point. The point, Mr. Newman, is in Marseille, 1973. Amanda's words hung in the air. She saw a flicker in his eyes, a crack in the granite facade. It was all the confirmation she needed. A young, ambitious man named Victor Newman was there, wasn't he? Trying to secure European funding for his fledgling company. "You met a woman, an artist named Colette Dumas." The name, spoken aloud after so many years, seemed to suck the air from the room. Victor's face went pale. "That is a name you have no right to speak." "Colette was Pierre Dumas's sister," Amanda continued, pressing her advantage. "You fell in love with her. It was a whirlwind, a passion that existed outside of your plans for domination. But her family, the powerful Dumases, disapproved. You were a nobody, an American upstart with more ambition than pedigree. They forbade the relationship." "You think you know a story," Victor whispered, his voice dangerously low. "I know the ending," Amanda said softly, her lawyer's mask slipping for a moment to reveal a hint of pity. "Colette was pregnant. With your child." Victor stood up, so abruptly his chair rolled back and hit the credenza with a crash. "Enough. This conversation is over. You will leave now, or I will have you removed." But Amanda stood her ground, her hand now inside the envelope. "You went back to America to build your fortune, to become a man worthy of her, to show the Dumases they were wrong. You promised to send for her. But by the time you were established, it was too late. The Dumases had told you she lost the baby. They told you she wanted nothing more to do with you. They erased you from her life, and her from yours. The memories, long buried under layers of power, success, and other marriages, flooded Victor. The smell of salt air in Marseille, The feel of Colette's hand in his, the devastating, soul-crushing letter he'd received, the one he'd believed for nearly 50 years. They lied to you, Victor. Amanda's voice was barely a whisper now. And they lied to her. They told her you had abandoned her, that you wanted nothing to do with her or your child. Heartbroken, she gave the baby up for adoption to a family far away from France to protect him from the shame her family preached. With a slow, deliberate motion, Amanda slid a single, faded photograph from the envelope and placed it face up on the gleaming surface of Victor's desk. It was a picture of a young man, perhaps in his late teens. He had a head of dark, unruly curls and a confident, almost arrogant smile. But it was the eyes that were unmistakable. They were Victor's eyes. The same piercing blue, the same intense, focused stare. It was like looking at a ghost, or a younger, happier version of himself he'd long forgotten. Victor's breath hitched. He stared at the photo, his body rigid. His name is Jean-Luc, Amanda said, her voice steady despite the seismic shift she was causing. He was raised in Montreal. He became a journalist. He never knew his birth parents. She then placed a second, more recent photo next to the first. It was a candid shot of the same man, now in his late 40s, laughing with a woman. The resemblance to Victor was even more profound, the set of his jaw, the line of his brow. But Victor's eyes weren't on the man's face anymore. They were locked on the woman beside him. A beautiful, elegant woman with a warm smile and familiar, kind eyes. It was his daughter, Victoria. The world tilted on its axis. The penthouse, the skyline, the empire, it all blurred into a meaningless swirl of color and light. The photo showed Jean-Luc and Victoria together at a charity gala in Paris the previous year, their arms linked, their heads close together in easy camaraderie. No, the word was a ragged gasp, torn from the deepest part of him. It's not possible. He didn't know, Amanda explained gently. He and Victoria met through a mutual philanthropic project. They became fast friends. He found a kindred spirit in her, a connection he never understood. He just felt at home with her. She paused, letting the horrifying truth settle. He became close with his own sister, without either of them having any idea. Victor Newman, the man who had faced down corporate assassins, hostile takeovers, and betrayals from his own children, began to crumble. The strength seemed to drain from his legs, and he collapsed back into his chair, his body folding in on itself. His hand, the one that had signed death warrants for countless companies, trembled as it reached out to touch the image of his son. His son, a living, breathing man he never knew existed. A man who had been a friend to the daughter he adored, while he, Victor, had spent a lifetime hating the boy's uncle with a bitterness that had shaped his European business strategy for decades. A single, traitorous tear escaped, tracing a path through the weathered landscape of his cheek. He didn't brush it away. He was unaware of it. All he could see was the face of the son he'd been robbed of, the firstborn he never knew, the child he and Colette had created in a moment of love, before the world, and its cruel lies tore them apart. He saw a lifetime of lost Christmases, missed baseball games, fatherly advice never given. He saw the ghost of Colette in Jean-Luc's smile, and it was a pain more acute than. The shocker wasn't just the photograph. It wasn't just the revealed secret. It was the sight of the unbreakable Victor Newman, brought to his knees not by a rival, but by the ghost of a past he never knew was real. The mighty titan was crying, and in the silent, opulent office, the only sound was the shattering of his own heart and the collapse of the foundational grudge upon which he had built so much of his life. The war against Pierre Dumas was not just a business rivalry, it was a monument to a lie. And now, that monument was dust. My boy, the words were a broken whisper, a sound so raw and vulnerable that Amanda had to look away, granting him this moment of devastating privacy. All this time, I have a son. The Young and the Restless, YNR, spoilers and updates for Monday, October 13th, reveal that Kane Ashby, Billy Flynn, considers giving Phyllis Summers, Michelle Stafford, his AI program, while news hits that Noah Newman, Lucas Adams, was in a near-fatal car crash. While Nick stuck around to help Chelsea Lawson, Melissa Claire Egan, and Adam Newman, Mark Grossman, publish the piece, he was now going to head to Sharon in LA. He dropped by the ranch to let his dad know his plans, and while Victor did hum and haw about it, Victor eventually gave Nick the okay. Victor was concerned about Kane's retaliation, but he realized just how worried his son was about Noah. Just as Nick was about to head to the airport, he got a frantic call from Sharon. She was highly emotional and very distraught. Nick learned she was at a hospital in Los Angeles, as Noah had been in a car crash. Nick also found out that his son was fighting for his life. Victor told Nick to take the Newman jet to LA and to call him and Nikki Newman Melody Thomas Scott as soon as he had an update. Over to Phyllis and Kane, from the train car, they headed to the GCAC bar, upon Phyllis's request. Kane wanted Phyllis to use his AI software to help polish up his image in the public eye and do good with it. Plus, Kane's desperate to prove himself to Lily Winters, Crystal Khalil, and his kids, so there's that too. While the two banter back and forth about the idea, Phyllis ultimately agrees to use her techie skills to figure out a way to use the AI program, which was once going to be unleashed to take over the legacy companies in Genoa City. Now she had to figure out a way for it to be used for the greater good of humanity and to make Kane look like a hero. With that said, Phyllis tells Kane the only stipulation she has is that she wants him to hand over his AI software to her. Kane says no. After all, how can he trust her with a powerful tool? What if she turns around and uses it for her own benefit? This is when Phyllis leans in close to him and guarantees he can trust her, seductively. It almost looked as if the two were going to kiss, but they didn't. Kane then notes that if Phyllis gives him some scenarios, he'll consider giving her the AI program. At Society, Adam and Chelsea celebrate their Kane hit piece when Victoria Newman, Amelia Heinley, joins them. The talk turns to Claire Newman, Haley Aaron in LA with Holden Novak, Nathan Owens, and Victoria states her concerns over this, which is when Kyle Abbott, Michael Mueller, walks in. Kyle takes Victoria to the side and tells her about his plans to win Claire back by heading to Los Angeles. All he needs is her address, which he asks Victoria for. Vicky insists that Claire needs space, and she's not about to disrespect her daughter by helping Kyle. She refuses to help, and Kyle sulks about it. The Young and the Restless spoilers indicate that Kyle may pull an underhanded move to find Claire's whereabouts in LA, so fans will need to stay tuned to the CBS soap this week to watch this storyline play out. CDL is where it's at for the hottest Young and the Restless news, updates, and spoilers, so drop by, get comfortable, and enjoy all the best YNR information around. The Young and the Restless. YNR, spoilers for the next 3 weeks, October 13th to 31st, suggest fans need to brace for some horrifying moments in Los Angeles, while there's wedding drama for one couple. Plus, there will be fireworks between Kane Ashby, Billy Flynn, and Phyllis Summers, Michelle Stafford. Off the cusp of that Newman Media hit piece, Kane will be reeling. He was on shaky ground with the twins and Lily Winters, Crystal Khalil, as it was, so he'll be desperate to turn things around. YNR spoilers for the week of October 13th to 17th hint that he'll turn to Phyllis and ask for her help to do something, using that AI software, to make him look good in the eyes of the public, as well as his family. Still, she'll issue him an ultimatum. Phyllis will tell him she can help if he gives her the AI program, however, he'll be hesitant to do this. Kane will agree to think about it if she provides some scenarios on how she will use it, and if she proves that he can trust her with it. Over to Nick Newman, Joshua Morrow. He'll be shocked by a distress call from Sharon Newman, Sharon Case. Sharon will call him to let him know that she's at an LA hospital as Noah Newman Lucas Adams is there after a car crash, fighting for his life. The whole scene will feel eerily like Cassie Newman's Cameron Grimes situation, so the parents will be terrified for their son. Noah will likely be in a coma, which means Nick and Sharon will be left with a ton of questions and no answers as to why their son had been acting strangely leading up to the collision and what exactly has landed him in this predicament. Noah won't be able to speak to what happened, which will have Schick that much more on edge. There will be 2 major characters debuting during the week of October 13th. The Young and the Restless spoilers indicate that General Hospital alum Matt Cohen will enter the canvas on Thursday, October 16th, as Detective Burrow, and he'll be involved in the Schick/Noah storyline. Plus, Soap vet Tamara Braun will debut Sienna Bacall on Tuesday, October 14th. Sienna is a bar owner in LA, and she'll have scenes with Holden Novak, Nathan Owens, and Claire Newman, Haley Aaron, as the two enjoy some vespers in her establishment. Sienna will mention Holden's past relationship with Audra Charles, Zuleika Silver, so it'll be interesting to learn more about Sienna and how her story relates to those in Genoa City. Elsewhere, Kyle Abbott, Michael Mealer, will be ruthless in his pursuit of heading to LA. During the Monday, October 13th episode, he'll approach Victoria Newman, Amelia Heinley, at Society, requesting information on Claire's address in LA. With that said, the mom will deny his request. However, Kyle will do something massively sketchy to ensure he gets the information he wants. In fact, it looks like he'll also completely catch Claire off guard when he shows up in LA and crashes her getaway adventure. In other news, Mariah Copeland, Cameron Grimes, will get a visit to Boston from Tessa Porter, Kate Fairbanks. Still, things have been very testy between this super couple since Mariah's business trip and her odd evening with Will Hensley, Michael Swan. Will the visit end on a good or sour note? During the week of October 17th to 24th, things could get even worse for Tessa and Mariah. If Tessa informs her wife about the digging that she and Daniel Romalotti, Michael Graziade, did, Mariah could have a meltdown. This may have Tessa running into Daniel's arms for comfort, but will the two also share a romantic moment? Daniel has genuine feelings for Tessa, while Tessa has friendly feelings for Daniel. With that said, if